I'm just trying to record it for the YouTube. I don't know how to share my screen though. This is my first time doing it. Oh, yeah, of course. Thank you. I can put this on the Instagram as well. I do that. Do you want me to take a picture? It's okay, I got it. Good. Thank you. It's okay. Hello. 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 Josh is on his way right now with the pieces. Yeah. Hello. It's, it's okay. You're on time, don't worry. These things usually start a bit later, so it's okay. I mean, I can start right now, actually. I might as well. So, hello everybody. Welcome to the Intermediate and Advanced Chess Workshops, brand new for this year, for 2025. So, I'm Naranjan. I'm the Wellbeing and Inclusions Officer for Chess Society this year. Over here, we've got Charlie, who's our president of Chess Society. And then Josh is coming over with the pieces as we speak right now. He's our treasurer, so he deals with like all the finances of Chess Society and everything. So just to introduce the society in case like you haven't been here, it's your first time. We're the Leicester Chess Society. We meet every Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Bob Burgess Building. Essentially, we just get together, we play chess. We have like some competitions kind of stuff as well. It's very chill. Like you guys are gonna have a good time here. But today is our intermediate and advanced chess workshops. Essentially, it's sort of like a discussion group where like everyone gets together. We talk about a bunch of different chess concepts, and that's what today is. So, as you've seen here, we're talking about the 7Q method. First of all, I'd like you to everyone get together and like introduce yourselves, like as a table, I guess. You can like go around, say your name, like where you're from, all the stuff that's on there, pretty much. Like talk to each other, let's break the ice a little bit. At a table, come on. Okay, so thank you guys for like introducing yourselves. Pretty much what you can expect in the coming weeks. We've got these sessions, they run every 2 weeks from 7 to 8 p.m. in the Bob Burgess, so this room pretty much. Today we're going to be talking about the 7Q method. Uh, in 2 weeks, we're going to talk about how to study chess. So stuff like we're going to like discuss how you guys learn chess pretty much. What are the different methods you use? Uh, After that, we got famous games analysis. So we're going to be looking at like master level games pretty much. And we're going to be talking about like we're going to study them pretty much. Workshop 4 is to be decided because I haven't made it yet. It's during my reading week. So I'm going to delegate that to one of you on committee, yeah. And then, hello. And then workshop 5 is a psychology of chess. I'm a psychology student, so that's kind of my thing. And then the final one of the term is workshop 6, which is taking the initiative and creating counterplay. So it's basically like how you convert, like how you try to win a losing position, pretty much. So today is about the 7Q methods. First of all, like what actually is the 7Q method? Before I get onto that, I'm gonna like, do any of you guys have this like one friend who's like, you go to them and you try and like, you go to them with your problems and like, you ask them, what do I do? What do I do? I have these problems. I don't know what to do. And then you go to them and you're like, what do I do? And they come back to you. And once you finish the conversation, you know exactly what you want to do. That's the like the reason how that kind of friend does that is because they don't like always know what to do, but rather they tell you like leading questions pretty much. They tell you questions like to make you think, and that sort of like solves your problems, I guess. This is like really strange, the way I'm explaining it, but the 7Q method is like pretty much the same as well. It's short for the seven question methods. Pretty much it's like a checklist of questions that you ask yourself towards like the middle game of a chess game. And pretty much you ask yourself these questions and you try and like figure out a plan pretty much based on the answers to the questions, if that makes sense. So yeah, a checklist of questions created by like one of these grandmasters designed to help you create a plan in the middle game. He wrote an article of it like on chess.com. So if you guys want to take a picture of that and like scan it and if you want to study it at home as well, then you're more than welcome to take a picture of that. You got it? All right. But yeah, we're going to be talking about what the 7Q method is, like what the different questions are, and we're going to try and apply them to different like puzzles and different like middle games pretty much. So the first question is, what problems does the opponent have? So in terms of like what a problem an opponent have, it might be like their king might be weak, or they've got like a weak pawn that you can put pressure on, or they might have like a piece that's almost trapped. So that's what your plan should be, is trying to exploit what problems your opponent has in their position. So I want to do a little bit of activity with each of these questions. I'm going to give you like a position, and you guys are going to like try and discuss what the answer to each question is. And there's no right or wrong answers. Like I'm curious to see what you guys are like thinking of pretty much. So in this position, what kind of problems does the opponent have? You guys can discuss it amongst yourselves as well. You can talk to me as well. But yeah, what problems does the opponent have? It's a weak king. Okay. Okay. Hello. It's okay. So you said that you have a weak king in this position. Okay. Anything else? Okay. So actually I've got, oh my God. I've actually got them up over here, each of these. So I guess we can have a look at them on here as well. So you're saying queen here to attack these two pieces, or these two pawns, right? Okay, that's good. Anything else? Okay, how would you do that? D3. Okay. So yeah, I guess so, but it does attack with queen and it is defended by the pawn. Hello. So you're saying that, so basically we're trying to answer the question of like what's we can what was the question? It was, oh my God. What problems does the opponent have pretty much? So you're saying that the queen's position over here is a bit weak, and you said that the king is weak as well, so you can go here, try and attack the pawns over here. Anything else? There's no right or wrong answers to this. It's just I'm curious to see what you guys are like, your thoughts pretty much.
Like red bishop's like half red, right? Like it's got mispressed.
Okay. So what would you do to exploit that? Okay. So we have three candidate moves. We have bishop here being one of them to exploit the queen's like being a bit vulnerable there. We've got queen here to attack these two, and ideally no bishop trades. So wait, no bishop trades, did you say?
Yeah. Bishop D3 not in take. Maybe there's bishop D3 and then I don't know how many squares I can. So
You can come up and show it on here as well if you want.
I think I like queen A5.
Queen A5. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So essentially, there's 7 questions of these, and we've answered one of them. Let's move on to the next one. Question 2. What problems do we have? So, as I said before, types of problems could be your king might be weak, or you've got like a pawn that's a bit weak as well. So you're trying to minimize your own weaknesses pretty much. You're trying to make your weaknesses your strength, if that makes sense. So let's look at this position. What problems do we have in this position? I'll move this out of the way. This one's a bit more difficult. Down a piece. That's correct. We don't have a rook. They've got 2 rooks. We've only got 1. Yeah, okay. I like that. Nice. G3, let's go back. We have question 2 over here. So you talked about this move being a candidate move. I kind of. Oh, right, it's white to move. So, but like in this position, we're trying to ask what's our weaknesses pretty much. So obviously that's a good move for black, but because it's white to move, we're trying to figure out pawn to G3 here. Oh, right, right. Okay, I see that. So that this pawn doesn't come forwards and just be like a nuisance pretty much. Okay. No, I like that. That's good. Anything else? Like you guys can discuss it amongst yourselves as well. If you guys want boards to try and figure stuff out as well, then we can put those on the tables as well. Josh?
I think but we have a backwards pawn on D4, and then knight's got a bunch of good squares and outposts we can go to. So maybe a move like bishop C5, try and stop the knight from making its way to the E4 square or
Okay.
C4 square.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. So what I'm seeing right now as well, so if that doesn't happen, if we don't play here, then the knight can come here and get to this square, right? This is a really strong square for
Or C4, but
yeah, definitely. But like if we combine your plan and your plan as well, so maybe maybe black wants to go here and get their queen in and stuff something like that. And then they can bring the knight in as well. So another thing that I saw before this as well is that the rook can pin the bishop to the queen as well. So my thinking was maybe obviously we've just said that, but we can move the bishop back. If that makes sense. Is that okay? That's good pretty much? So our candidate moves is bishop here and pawn here. That's good. Nice. Let's move on to the third question, which is where are we strong? So essentially, the chessboard is split into 2 sides. So you've got the queen side, which is A to D, files A to D, and you've got the king side, which is E to H. So a strength can be something to do with, how many pawns have been pushed on that side, or how many pieces have been like moved towards that side as well. So, for example, if there's like a bunch of different pawns, you push a bunch of pawns or like pieces towards A to H, then A to E, then you're stronger on the queen side pretty much. So if we look at this position, where are we strong? Okay. How come? Okay. Anything else? Any other reasonings? Obviously, it is the queen side because we've got a bunch of pawns pushed there. So now that you said that the queen side is stronger, how can you take advantage of that? What do you guys think? The D line, okay. So because you've got the queen and rook standing there with a battery as well. So you're saying you want to try and open this up pretty much. Okay. The only thing is that as a devil's advocate, I'm going to say is that this pawn is the thing that you want to try and open up, right? So how are you going to do that? You need some kind of like tangible plan of trying to open it up. Obviously, this pawn is protected twice, with this pawn and the knight as well. So CD, yeah, it is. But then how would you advance after that?
Break twice.
Hmm.
CD, CD, like,
Oh yeah, of course. No, because we have the knight as well that's attacking it. So yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Okay, that's good. Uh, so your plan, so because you've seen that the queen side is stronger, you sort of like figured out that because we're strong, we should be attacking on the queen side, and then from there you figured out that we should be attacking on the d file pretty much. So that's good. Anything else? Any other?
knight, four.
Let's go to the board actually. This is question 3.
It's 94 if the rook takes d6, queen has to move.
So knight e4, sorry,
Yeah, they can't. I don't think they can take.
because the rook takes
this
back.
and we have tempo. So these 24. I don't think it's worth it.
Hmm.
Maybe maybe it's not worth
Okay.
Push the H pawn so we can bring the rook in line with the king in that pawn.
Push-
That with that side.
Push the H pawn like that.
Bring the rook to the g5 and start pressuring on that side because it's not advantageous for him to take in the middle. because
Okay.
he's bringing the bishop stuff. So he's not going to take it in the middle. So we have to start to attack on the.
Okay. I like that. So you've seen the G file is completely open as well. And the rook's a lot better on open files as well. So you want to bring the rook to the open files to try and right, of course. And mhm.
You don't need it.
Then there's also about to diagonal for the black bishop. So
Over here as well.
in
Yeah,
the future.
yeah, definitely.
Especially straight d5 and then you have like rook g1 as well. But it's already
Okay. Yeah. It's good that nobody's mentioned this move because obviously when you're trying to attack, you want to like try and open the position, I guess, because as you can see, we've got the bishops as well. Obviously, they got 2 bishops, but this bishop isn't really doing much. So locking the position up is not exactly the greatest. You want to be opening everything up rather than pushing it and locking everything. The like once you've locked everything up, it's always the opponent that has the advantage pretty much. So let's move on to the next question, which is question 4. There's no right moves. There's no right moves at all. There's I don't know what the best move is, but this is supposed to be like a discussion group where like everyone can learn from each other pretty much. Yeah, yeah. So the next question is, which of my pieces can be happier? So what I like to say is that each piece has its own feelings pretty much. So essentially you can go about asking all your pieces, how can you be happier, you know? So like a rook might be happier if it's on an open file. A bishop might be better if it's like on an open diagonal, or a knight is a lot better if you close down the position pretty much. So based on that, we're trying to like figure out how our pieces can be happier. So how we can open up diagonals for our bishop, how we can open up files for our rooks, how we can close down the position if we have like two knights compared to the opponent that has like bishops rather than knights, you know? So in this position, how let's go through each of our pieces pretty much. Let's start with this rook over here on G8 right here. Let's ask it, how can it be happier? What do you guys think? Okay. Okay, so if this rook, sorry, say that again, actually.
Without the bishop, it would have a nice clean file all the way up to where the king's standing.
Mm-hmm.
And without the queen, no one would be off, right?
Right, okay. So how would you try and execute that plan pretty much? How would you try and get rid of this bishop so the rook can be happier? Any ideas? Okay. Oh, let's go back. This is question 4. So you're saying that rook here, the queen, yeah, the bishop can take it.
This thing is.
Oh, right, of course, because it's attacked.
The queen can't take this.
Mm-hmm.
2 pieces for the queen.
So just as an example, in this position, you can't take that because obviously we take the queen. So the queen has to step away. And then now your plan becomes trying to get rid of this bishop. But no, first you're trying to get rid of, like, move this knight out of the way. So it's something like this. But obviously, as just an example of like how to make this rook happier, we'd ideally want to get rid of this bishop. Let's go back. Let's go to this knight, for example. How can we make it happier? Right now, it's being attacked twice. Obviously, it's defended twice. So is there any way we can make it happier? Is there any need to make it any happier, I guess?
Even though it's attacked twice, once the rook takes back, the queen takes the rook. So even though the knight is looking at it, it might be more protected if we move the queen up one square to D6.
D6, okay. So you're saying that,
Check it once more, yeah.
yeah, so to protect it more, you just go here, pretty much.
The other have to take the rook and leave the other rook undefended.
Right, okay.
I think also, I mean, it'd be nice if you could take your knight to F5. You can't do it straight away because I think bishop takes is probably bad. So maybe moving the C knight to D5 to try and get your E knight to F5.
So you're saying somehow manage to get your knight here. Was that what you're saying?
So you want to do E knight on F5, but you can't do it right now because bishop takes. So
Right.
So you could maybe. The problem is if you try and move the C knight first, because the C knight can cover that square on by D4, and that's also a good square for that line.
Okay.
But the problem is it loses tactically, because you're not defending the E knight. You need to find the movement between them.
Queen d6. Okay.
We've been here now, you can play knight c4 with the idea of later playing.
Okay.
It's a long plan, but your knights would both be on really good squares because there's a bunch of attacking ideas where you can sack the knight at 5 for the pawn on h1 and they couldn't take the 5 there's long-term pressure there.
Okay.
And you're never worried about bishop takes f5 because the other knight just replaces it and that's a really good square.
So knights may plan that you will win one tempo, which is the white knight is handy. So if you move your knight, you get like one time because they have to defend it.
Yeah, the problem is they don't have to defend it straight away because they can then if you move them at first.
You just
They don't. Yeah, they can. I mean, they might choose to defend it, right? But like they're tactically too.
If we do go d6, he has to move the knight because we take with check. Like we check and then we win the knight. If he doesn't move the knight, we go queen d6 because then what is it? Then c5 is a check and then we win the knight.
Yeah, true. So yeah, you're right. Queen d6 also wins the tempo, right? In the same way.
The majority of the knight was 6. To the left side of the board, right? If you go to A4, not that one.
Which one, sorry? Oh, right. Okay. It's black to move right now, so I can't move it right now.
Yeah, so you're saying that maybe the problem with queen d6 is knight f4.
Okay. D6 over here. So going back to the 7Q methods, we're trying to figure out how we can make each of our pieces happier. So we've looked at this rook. We're trying to figure out that we're trying to get rid of this bishop, but it's not really a good like idea because it's not like feasible to do that with any of our pieces. We've looked at trying to make this knight happier by supporting it even more with our queen to d6. We've also, well, I was gonna say, but let's try and figure out like how we can make this knight happier as well.
Say for example they get knight 6.
So just for our viewers at home on our YouTube channel, this is what is being discussed right now.
Like you're not sad trading that knight. That's no problem.
Queen a5 solves that problem. Like if you go queen a5, you attack and then you prevent it from going to a4.
So queen a5, that prevents the knight from going here.
That's it.
Okay.
That also locks our position a bit though, because now we can't move that knight.
Okay. I mean, right now we're trying to like implement the 7Q methods. So it doesn't matter like which position is like completely winning right now. We're just trying to figure out how we can make all of our pieces better. Because obviously even if black is completely losing, there's still maybe some chances that we can figure out, So let's try and figure out if there's any way we can make it better. We've looked at this, we've looked at this. We'll try and look at this one as well.
Like I guess queen a5 was the only way to stop the knight popping around. e6, but I feel like you might have to just allow it. I don't think there's a good way to stop it. Allow any of that pieces to move. Because if you play queen a5, you can't move either rook, either knight, or the bishop. But
What?
well, yeah, I don't think white would defend. Like, there's no reason to defend the pawn. White's a pawn up. I mean,
You move the rook down.
yeah, maybe not to that. Well,
But then, of course, what Samuel just said, the knight can come here
but like,
and it stops defending this. Maybe rook here?
you have to move your knight.
Ah, that's a good point. Yes. Trying to defend the knight as well. We can come back to this. It's okay. We can come back to this. Yeah, it's okay. Well, we'll come back to this one though. Let's move on to question 5 of the 7Q method. Which of our pieces do you want to trade? So essentially, when you're playing a chess game, the trades are like the most important bits of it, pretty much. Ideally, if your opponent has like a really strong piece, you want to get rid of it with a piece that's a little bit weaker, pretty much, so that if they have an advantage, we take away their advantage with something that's like bringing our position down, pretty much. So let's say if there's a bishop on a really strong diagonal, and our bishop's like not doing that much, to be honest, then trading those means that we can get our position a little bit better, pretty much, by taking away their advantage. So let's look at this position. Which of your pieces do we want to trade? First of all, let's try and figure out which of black's pieces is strongest. Any ideas? So this is like a two-part question. Which of our opponent's pieces is strongest, and which of ours is weaker, and how can we trade the weak one with the strong one, pretty much. The knight's really strong. Okay. How come? Yep. Okay. Any other ideas? Obviously, the answer is that the knight is the strongest. But like any other ideas as well that you want to discuss? Okay. Let's look at this. So knight e1. And then d3, like there. Yeah. Okay. What's the thought process behind that? Okay. So yeah, that is like the kind of correct kind of thing that I was looking for. Bishop. Oh yeah, of course, yeah. To reinforce that. But then again, this bishop is like a bit strong as well, you know.
So, so say for example, 91 bishop f8, knight d3. You can do like, and then yeah. No, go for it.
If you want, you can put your knight in e4. No, then
Sorry?
at the last of the move,
Yeah.
you can yes, and then your knight can be placed in c6 or a6.
C6 or A6.
Your knight. You have not to trade the knight.
Yeah.
You can move your knight in a better square.
Okay.
E6, for example.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that, I mean, to some extent that black knight is uncomfortable there. But at the same time, we want our pieces probably like on the inside for attack, so, it's not like a huge spread, or, I don't know, maybe we're looking for counterplay on the left side.
Mhm.
So I wanted to what extent, we might get rid of that, knight, or maybe like our white knight is more powerful on the right side.
Okay. So moving this back to the 7Q method, we're trying to figure out which of our pieces is like the weakest versus the opponent's being strongest. So you guys are on the right ideas of this knight being the strongest piece. Out of our pieces, I'd say this bishop is the weakest, but the second weakest one I'd say is this knight. The only way that we can get rid of this knight is, I guess, bringing it back over here. Maybe we can bring it here or bring it here, like you said as well.
The white bishop should be good. Because the pawn on d5 is like, if you're making a long-term plan to try and win the game,
Right.
it's winning that pawn and having a protected passive.
Okay.
So any piece that can attack that square, because their bishop can't defend that pawn.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of lines where black has to be very passive. So for example, knight e1, bishop f8 was the move we came up with, knight d3. Black can't trade immediately because you lose the pawn. So black maybe tries to hold on to his knight because do knight d3 for
Knight d3, okay.
and then so they have to find a move there because if they allow us to capture,
Yep.
we're winning the d pawn.
Okay.
And if they capture our knight, we're also winning the d pawn because we can play rook takes and there's no way for them to actually defend because it's attack twice and there's no defender that can get to it.
Yeah.
So they have to move their knight if they want to keep their pawn, or they could play a move. They could play a move like they have to play like queen d7 or something. So and then put a rook behind it to try and defend, and then it's just very passive. Like they have a lot of pieces that now have to just look at the d5 pawn to protect it because they can't let capture it.
Okay.
Because I think the end game might it's probably what to do if you.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. If you can, if you win the pawn, it's not only a pawn. Also, you're threatening the f pawn, which is weak and can't be defended by the black bishop. You threaten pawn and stuff as well. Like it's very bad for black if they lose the pawn. So
Yeah.
they have to retreat the knight after.
Okay. You guys are on the right ideas. That's really good. Sure. Yeah, of course. Let's move it back actually.
Yeah, so it says queen d7. Yeah, so knight.
So knight e1. Yep.
I assume they don't play bishop. I assume they're trying to play. I think bishop.
And it's saying queen there. Yep.
So because they have to play this to hold on to the pawn.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the next question then, which is question 6. What is our opponent's next move or plan? So in chess, it's a 2-player game, obviously. There's another person sitting on the other opposite side of the board to you. They're also trying to figure out the 7Q methods, so we're trying to figure out what our opponent has to do, and we're going to try and stop that as well. So in this position, what might our opponent's plans be? This one's a bit difficult because I guess there's not much happening in it, but let's look at it on the chess.com. What is our opponent's next moves or next plan pretty much? And how can we make a plan out of that pretty much? Okay, so they're trying to castle. Yep. So how do we stop that? Or can we stop that as a question that I'm gonna ask you? We can't stop it, okay. So is there any way we can take advantage of that maybe? If they castle?
We can the G pawn to the king. Yeah, so move our queen to the G5.
Yep.
So is it black move or white move?
Now it's black to move because we played. Okay, he's castled. Oh.
Now since the pawn is pinned, I move my bishop to H7.
H6, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's good. That's the position that I was looking for pretty much. But you got it spot on. Well done. Obviously, there's going to be some knight moves here as well to defend the pawn and attack the queen at the same time, but we can always just move, But yeah, that's like the right ideas. That's what this position is like trying to figure out. I can't castle for some reason. It doesn't let me, but they should be able to castle. But any other ideas if like what Black's next moves might be and how we can try and stop that? Other than castling, yeah. The queen and the bishop. So something like queen here and bishop here. Is that what you're saying for this diagonal? Okay. Right, right. So how would you try and stop that then? Because it's white to move, you can essentially stop Black's ideas. This one? Hmm. Bishop f4. So that if any queen moves or bishop moves first, then yeah. Okay, that's good. Hmm.
Achieve the same thing as the bishop.
Yeah, definitely.
Both those two moves that black was considered both.
Yeah, definitely. That's really good, guys. Well done. Let's move on to the next question because I'm a little bit conscious of time. Question 7, which is our final question. How can we advance? So essentially, advancing means like pushing your pawns forwards, your pieces forwards to try and like form an attack pretty much. So if there's like no tactics or anything, we just need to try and put a little bit of pressure on our opponent to see if they crack. And advancing your pieces and pawns towards either your king or to your opponent's king could like scare them, And anything could happen if you advance. So in this position, it's a little bit closed up. So this is a bit more difficult, but how can we advance from here? I'll show you on the chess.com one. How can we advance? Sorry, fork the queen and the bishop, did you say? This one? Okay. Yep. Yeah, definitely. So anywhere the queen moves, for example, if they go here, we just take, or we can take it with this one. Yeah, this one is a lot better actually because, we're advancing this knight as well, rather than just moving the same piece twice. But yeah,
Fine, like took a couple photos for Instagram.
yeah, go for it. Yeah, perfect. But yeah, so the main thing that you saw is that I was looking at knight here. Essentially, this is advancing our pieces forwards, trying to trying to push our like pieces forward so that we can win material pretty much. Is there anything else you guys are thinking of other than knight here? Any way that we can advance for black? Yeah. Okay. What would you do? How would you try and advance it? Yeah.
So after the knight moves, for example, it can go to e7 and then get on that diagonal.
Mm.
You get a tempo.
100%. Yeah, definitely. So I'm a little bit conscious of time, so we're gonna move on. So pretty much what I want to talk about is the 7Q method in practice. Essentially, you're not like just asking one of the questions out of the seven, but like the 7 questions. You gotta try and ask all of them in when you're trying to like figure out a plan. So I split the table, I split the room up into 4 sections. So there's like 4 pieces of paper. Essentially, we're gonna look at like each table is gonna look at different positions. And so this will be table 1, this will be table 2, table 3, and table 4. And essentially, you guys are gonna try and implement each question into the 7Q methods and like sort of discuss it as a table pretty much. So if you guys want to set up each of these positions, so you guys can be table one, you guys can look at this position and you can set that up on the board. So we only have 3 tables today, so we'll do 3 of the positions out of the 4 of them. You guys are 3, so the one with Charlie, Charlie's table, I guess. You guys can set up this position. Actually, it's on here as well, so you can put it on there. So this will be table 1. This one can be table 2. So Yingxin's table, you can be table 2. And then table 3, you guys can pick one of the bottom ones pretty much. And then in about like 10 minutes roughly, we'll each discuss like what kind of plans or what kind of questions you guys did. That might be a little bit better because there's some stuff that's on my screen for some reason. You guys can see all the stuff, okay? All the pieces? But yeah, all of these are white to move, by the way. All of these positions are white to move. Also, I forgot to mention that once you've like answered one of the questions, yeah, I've put like pieces of paper down on the tables as well. So you can write your answers down on there and then hopefully we'll just be able to discuss that afterwards.
But there's also attacking ideas as well, right? So there's some like. No, I was thinking more just like. I was thinking more like.
Make sure you're writing all this down, by the way. Don't forget to write.
You've got time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good sponsor, but I also don't want to give them the file.
Yeah, that's what I do think. It's like going to get. But some people, the detail we don't check that night out.
Brooks, yeah. Probably. Then let's say before. Let's say, yeah, rook d7 spawn. Rook d7 spawn. C6, C6, BC, BC. Yeah. Because they have but even there, like,
What have you guys thought of so far?
Brooks C7.
Okay.
True.
Yeah.
Wait, no, that's
So if you're playing with white, for example, obviously all of these are ways to move.
Oh, right, yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I would try and exploit.
So when it is.
And like.
okay. So I must do, but let's say in some line they play this instead, so let's say we're bishop. Okay.
That's all.
So you mentioned that these ones.
I like it.
You always win at 10,000 when
We're not gonna write it down.
No.
I think you can.
Just put all in one on the screen.
I mean, you're winning here.
Let's say it goes black to move then. So let's talk about what our opponent's next move would be. No, if they were black to move forwards, what are you trying to do? Okay.
You have to blockade, right?
Is there anything you can do to prevent the rooks from going there?
And even if they do, and start.
Yeah, but you can't ask
Repeat that in the case.
They bring athletes play all the time. You can look at this one. If we look at this one, this one's a bit more difficult. I'll give you guys another 2 minutes to figure out your positions, and then we can discuss it as a group.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's discuss. Let's discuss. Finish off your conversations. We'll try and discuss. So, Charlie's table. You guys were position number 1. Charlie's table. What did you guys discuss? So you were the very first one. Let's go back to it. You were this one, weren't you? What did you guys discuss? Okay. 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 C6, yep. A1. Okay.
We could also be, much better.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Strong.
King safety, okay. So mhm. Okay. Yep. So these two pawns. These 3 pawns are better than these 2 pawns. So okay. So based on all of those answers that you've given me, did you like guys try and figure out how you can advance? Like what's your plan pretty much based on all of those? Yep. So this attacks the knight. Queen to d4, which attacks the pawn. Okay. Yep. Towards here. Nice. Okay, that's great. Well done. So let's move on to the second table, Yingshin's table. You guys did puzzle 2, and you started with puzzle 4 as well, which is great. So what did you guys discuss? This is puzzle 2. Do you guys want to do puzzle 4 first because it's right in front of you?
This is puzzle 3.
Oh, puzzle 3? Oh, okay. Okay, you guys can discuss that then. Your turn.
Thought that the main advantage we have there is that our pawn majority is faster in any endgame that we get.
Okay, so you guys got pawn majority.
Right now, our set pieces are opening one. So
Yep, saddest piece.
using those two things together, Nick on rook b1 with the idea of shoving your b pawn
Shoving the b pawn.
and trying to make a pass pawn. So
Okay.
we look to rook b1.
Rook
if they
b1.
try and take the open file. So say rook a. Let's say they try and prevent it first. So let's say a5 first, because they don't know our b4. So rook b1.
Yep, rook b1.
a5.
a5. Oh,
a3.
a3.
Now they try and take the open file. So say like rook d8 or something.
Rook d8.
Yeah, probably.
Mhm.
Now you start b4.
Now we can go b4.
So let's say AB. Because
Yep.
black doesn't want any pawn.
Mhm.
Here there isn't really a good move for black. So we thought like maybe because they can't try and double their rooks because b5 is going.
Right.
So say like we looked at the line we looked at was said like rook d7 or something. Or we said maybe they throw in knight d4 first if they don't want to lose the tempo. So like say knight d4, knight takes d4, rook takes d4.
Yep.
Here, yeah,
Rook d1.
no. Yeah. Right? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Rook d1 first, but then double.
So essentially your plan is that you figured out that these rooks are a little bit passive and that you've got this advantage on the king side. So your plan was basically just push your pawns and use the rook and make it like get better in the game pretty much.
So basically, in the end of the lines, if black trades rooks and all that happens, he doesn't have love for his king, so he has to waste an extra tempo somewhere.
Right.
And it ends up like white gets a pass pawn.
Mhm.
It's pretty awkward start.
What did you say? What do you say? Sorry. You can discuss it with the group. It's okay. That's what we're here for.
It's even like founded by like start.
Like this. Oh, sorry.
Take the knight first.
Yep.
Now you centralize the rook.
Now we centralize. Okay. And then start pushing. Okay.
Because a6. So like basically the problem we have is that they can clamp down on the faster. And not only that, in a lot of lines it's helpful, like that bishop on that one diagonal ends up being really strong. Because especially if you force the knight away, like if you get b5 with tempo, that long diagonal is it's great for the white bishop. Like and the black knight doesn't really have any good squares to actually go to.
So remember what we were saying before about which pieces you want to trade, right? So this bishop is very valuable right now because bishop C diagonals, bishop likes open diagonals pretty much. Whereas this knight is not doing that much in this position. So trading this bishop for this knight wouldn't be a great move, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So ideally, if you are going to push these pawns, you want to use this bishop to like support the pawn pushing pretty much, if that makes sense. So yeah, you guys, yeah, I mean, you were like discussing a bunch of different lines and like trying to figure out a bunch of different stuff as well. So that's really good. So puzzle 3, this was you guys, wasn't it? Okay. What do you guys discuss? Okay. Mm-hmm. There were clamps. Okay. Right. Okay.
Less advanced players, we basically said move the knight e5.
Knight e5 over here. Yeah. Okay. Nice. Anything else you guys discussed? That's pretty much it.
Yeah, the queen side.
So, no? Okay. Never mind. You guys said queen sacrifice. I thought that's the only like. Oh, sorry, e5. F6, yeah. Yeah. Oh. Queen would take the rook. Oh, okay. Takes back. Nice. Okay. That's great. So yeah, basically I didn't mention this before, but if there's like no answers to all the questions, then look for tactics. Tactics like 90% of chess pretty much. So if you go through all the 7Q methods and you realize I really don't know any of the answers, try and find some tactics, you know. And you did, and you know you found this. So that's really good. So you guys also looked at this briefly. This was a game from the candidates tournament in 2023, I think, 2022. What one of them? What did you guys like figure out of this? This night? Ah, okay. Ah, okay, because this is so this wasn't here before. You didn't see that one, but okay. But like now that you guys have all seen it, let's try and do it as a group. So I remember the first question was, what problems does the opponent have in this position? Mm-hmm. So let's go back to it. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Can't catch a queen side and they've already pushed their pawn on the queen side.
Okay. What problems do we have then? I'll try and zoom in like this. Yeah, this night. Where are we stronger in this position? The pawn structure, did you say? How come? Okay. Okay. So which of our pieces could be happier then? I mean, you already discussed this before, but the knight, yeah, exactly. Because the knight isn't really doing much on that side of the board. There's a saying in chess that knights on the edge are not great. There's like a other way of saying it. Knights on the edge are Knights of the Roman, that's the one. Thank you. Yeah. So, which of our pieces do we want to trade? Do we really want to trade anything? First of all, is the question that we should be asking. If we do, which ones do we want to trade? Okay.
And knights, both, I'm neither of our knights are particularly great.
Right,
I think
right.
they're like so strong.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a lot of their pawns on their king side on dark side. Which means they don't have much control over the light squares by their king.
Right.
So if you can get rid of the light square bishop, they can help.
Okay.
It's really the only way that they're controlling, like, say, for example, like the F5 square, like, the only way they can control that square is
Yep. 100%. So, based on the next question, what is our opponent's next move or plan? What do you guys think? Okay, kingside attack. Which ones? Which pawns? G pawn. You would have to move this bishop out of the way first, wouldn't you? Oh, right, right. Okay. Yeah, okay. I mistook you for what you said. Okay. So black wants to push their pawns. Right, okay. So we can stop that. Is there any way we can stop that?
can allow.
Mm-hmm.
There's also potential to play h4, and if they take to try and open stuff up, your dark square bishop gets more active.
Yep.
You're not like, yeah, from the bottom of the thing, it's great. That thing is also
Yeah, exactly, because they haven't castled either. Mm-hmm. And so for the final question, how can we advance? Is there any way we can advance?
It was very well suited by the table,
Mm-hmm.
but what if we just pushed our pawn on the corner up and we try to break part position on that side?
Which side, sorry? The A or H? H side. So H4. So that's what Josh was talking about before. So if we push the pawn, then if they take, we take back with the bishop. And
Well, then you play back to 2 and trigger the like then their pawns are frozen. They haven't been attacking. Like it's close off. They have a backwards F4 and they can never go through. So pushing, I think pushing is good. It means I can if you're going to bring that you can bring the open up to 4.
yeah, okay. So that was the final bit of today's session. So just to recap, the 7Q method is like a checklist of questions that we try and ask ourselves in a position to try and figure out like what the plan is pretty much. So out of the 7 questions, it's what problems does the opponent have? What problems do we have? Where are we stronger? Which of our pieces can be happier? Which of the pieces do we want to trade? What's the opponent's next move or plan? And how can we advance? So try and like implement these into your games. You know, we've all like discussed it and try and like figure it out in different positions. So if you get into a middle game, like during a chess game and you're like kind of stuck, remember the 7Q method, try and like remember what the questions were. At the start of the session, you guys all took pictures of the QR code. It's like the article is on there. So there's like, a bunch of different other positions on there as well. So you're more than welcome to try them out as well. But yeah, thank you all for coming. I really appreciate like the turnout for today. So next lesson is in 2 weeks. It's on the 10th of October, and we're going to talk about how to study chess. But yeah, thank you all so much for coming.